This tutorial is for Clue 8 of the Connote pattern by Janice Carter, which is the 2025 Mystery Crochet-Along pattern from Expression Fiber Arts. In this tutorial, I am going to be demonstrating how to work basically rows 5 and 7 of Clue 8 on both the thicker Dewy DK and the thinner CashSilk Sock yarn. A couple of notes before I get started. First of all, as usual, there are timestamps down in the video description, so you can just jump to the parts that you want to watch and skip the parts that you don't need to watch. Second, hook size. I found that this clue really wants to flare. Okay, so if you look at, for instance, my Dewy DK here, even though I went down an entire hook size from where I worked, I had already worked Clue 7 with an H hook or a 5mm hook. I ended up going down to a 7 or a 4.5mm hook, and it still is making me think it wants to, like, if I kept working it, it's going to kind of flare out. So same thing with my CashSilk Sock. I worked it with my F hook, which is a 3.75mm, or the US, what is that, 5. So just from what happened working this on my little sample made me decide that when I work it on my full-size project, I'm actually going to start with a US 4, which is a 3.5mm hook, because I have a really strong feeling that if I continued working with the F hook, that too is just going to flare out. So just be aware, it is a clue that wants to go wide, and so you want to be very careful that you're not working. Part of the problem with working loosely is it's actually going to make your stitches taller. It's not necessarily going to work them wider, and really the only way to get the width of your stitches down is to actually go down a hook size. So keep that in mind when you're working. I'm not going to show on camera working rows 1 through 4 of either one. You're basically working 2 rows you're working 2 rows of single crochet. Rows 1 through 4 are basically 2 rows of single crochet in your color G, and then 2 rows of single crochet in your color H. So I'm not going to show those on camera. I'm also not going to show rows 6 through 8 other than to show how I do the transition at the end of rows 6 and 8 to change yarn color. But you don't need to watch me single crochet across even just a tiny swatch. So just know, I'm really just only demonstrating the pattern rows. I think once you see how to place your long double crochets and understand what the wording really means, it's really very simple. So you may just be able to start at row 5 of whichever size that you want to watch and just listen through the explanation of how to place your long double crochets, and then you probably won't even need the video. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, so Clue 8 starts with 4 rows of single crochet. So after you finished Clue 7, which is going to be your color G, worked in your color G with that final row of single crochet across, then you start Clue 8 sticking with color G, and you're going to do a row of single crochet in both directions, so across the right side and then back across the wrong side. And then you're going to drop your color G, pick up color H. And if you want to know how I'm doing my edge transitions, I've linked down in the video's description in the link section the link to where I demonstrate how to change colors when you're starting with a new color in the Clue 3 video. So I've just linked that down there. Anyway, so you're going to pick up your color H. You're going to work 2 more rows of single crochet. So again, across the right side, turn single crochet across the wrong side. And at the end of, so this is the end of row 4. So at the end of row 4, you are going to transition back to color G. So I just, I'm going to go into this last stitch. I'm going to take my color G and drape it over my hook from right to left, so it's kind of coming across the inside, and then yarn over, pull through with color H, and then drop color H and pick up color G to do that last yarn over and pull through. Okay, so it just secures the color that we're bringing up on the edge and keeps the floats from being on the outside edge. All right, so once I've done row 5 and row 7 once, I think you'll be able to figure out where to place your stitches, but I'm going to do it twice just in case, just since it's going to be a little bit different once you have the pattern rows in. So start row 5 with a chain 1 and turn, and this is turning to the right side of the work. And we're just going to start with a single crochet, and that is in this very first stitch, so don't skip the stitch at the beginning. Then we are going to work the pattern repeat. So the pattern repeat is a long double crochet in the single crochet 2 rows below the next single crochet on the working row twice. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a mouthful. Let's talk about what that means. So the long double crochet is, we've worked that before. We've done the long double crochet in clue 2, where we had the long double crochets in between the front post stitches. And then we also had the long double crochets in clue 5 that we did the long double crochet on either side of a stitch to create the V's. So these are going to be more like the clue 2 long double crochets in that they're going to be straight up and down. They're not at an angle or anything. All right, so the thing that I think is probably the most confusing is where do you place your long double crochet, because we're doing it in the single crochet that's 2 rows below the next single crochet on the working row. So technically this row that we're working into, we're working into row 4. So we're going 2 rows below row 4. So not in row 3, in row 2. So we come down in the stitch that we're looking for is the one that our color H legs are going around. Okay. So if you find your stitch, and because of the way that we work, it may feel like it's not quite lined up. So if you look here, you can see the legs of the stitch that I'm looking for are slightly to the left of the next stitch. So I'm not working into the stitch and I'm coming down below that. That's the row from the wrong side, and I'm coming down below again, and it's actually going slightly over to the left. That's okay. That's just the nature of how we work crochet rows. They don't stack one on top of each other. They actually stack from one side to the other. Okay, so we're going to do a long double crochet. So yarn over your hook, and then we're aiming for basically going right under the legs of our color H stitch. So if you look, that stitch is worked around the top of this color G stitch that is 1, 2 rows below where we're working. So this is the working row. We're working into row 4. We're not going into row 3, we're going into row 2, and the legs of row 3 go around the top of the row 2 stitch. So we're going into the same place that we worked row 2. So yarn over the hook, insert this hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. And remember, we want to pull it loop up to the height of our current row. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we need to do this twice. And so we're going to go into the next stitch as well. So yarn over the hook, into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, again to the row height, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've done that twice, the long double crochet twice. Then we have the instruction, skip the next 2 single crochets on the working row. That does not mean this and this single crochet. It actually means the 2 single crochets that are now behind our long double crochets. We're skipping those 2 stitches because we worked into the row below. Okay, so once you have that information, it's really simple. We're just going to do a single crochet in the next stitch, and then a long double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So again, we're just coming down and going into the stitch that is where our color H color is worked around color G. That's our 2 rows below, and we're just making sure it's the next color G stitch there. So 1, and then 2, and we just keep, and then we finish that with a single crochet. So that pattern repeat ends with a single crochet in the next stitch. So we're just going to work that across all the way to the end. We're going to work 2 long double crochets, single crochet, 2 long double crochets, single crochet, all the way across. And the only thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're kind of pulling your fabric flat so that you're not accidentally going into the wrong stitch. You want to look for the one that is slightly to the left of your current stitch, not slightly to the right of your, I guess, of the next stitch. So if you were to go into this stitch to work, you want to find the stitch that's 2 rows below that, that is slightly to the left and not the one that's slightly to the right. So long double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Same thing with the next one. Make your long double crochet and end the repeat with a single crochet. All right, repeat that then. Repeat that. Long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat. Long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat. Long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat. Long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat. Long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. All right, so your last repeat you should have, once you finished and you just have 1 repeat left, you should have 3 stitches left until the end of the row. So you're just going to work that repeat one more time. So long double crochet, long double crochet, and your last stitch should be a single crochet. All right, so that's what you should have at the end of row 5. And you should be able to tell that your long double crochets made it into the same, or into the correct place, and your single crochets are in the right place. You should always have 1 color H single crochet between each of your 2. So like you have 2 long double crochets, and then you should be able to see the 1 color H single crochet that is between each set of 2 long double crochets all the way across. Okay, and then you should have 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end. Then row 6, you're just going to single crochet across. So chain 1, turn to the back, and then single crochet across each stitch. And then I'll meet you at the end of row 6. Okay, at the end of row 6, in this last stitch, again, I'm just going to grab my color H, drape it over my hook from right to left, yarn over and pull through a loop of color G, and then drop color G, pick up color H, yarn over, pull through those last 2. And again, that just helps bring the float up the inside edge, and it's a little bit more tidy than if it's coming out here on the outside edge, making a loop. Okay. All right, row 7, chain 1, turn to the right side. We're going to work a single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches. And then we're going to do our long double crochet, and again this is going into the single crochet that's 2 rows below the next single crochet on the working row. So remember, the next single crochet on the working row, the single crochet that's 2 rows below is going to be slightly to the left of that. So if you look here, here's my single crochet on the current row, and here is the single crochet where my color G is going around the top of a color H stitch. That's where I want to go for my long double crochet. So it is slightly to the left of the next stitch. So yarn over into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, then we're skipping the stitch that's behind that. That's the skip the next single crochet on the working row. That's the one that's behind this long double crochet. Then we're going to work 2 single crochets. So 1, 2. All right. So this is our pattern repeat. We do a long double crochet, and again that's going to go into the stitch where the legs of your color H are going around the stitch that's color G. A long double crochet, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, 2 single crochets. Long double crochet, 2 single crochets. Repeat, long double crochet, single crochet, single crochet. 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 And at the end of that last repeat, you should have 1 more stitch, and you're just going to work a single crochet in that last stitch. Oops. And that is what you should have when you are at the end of your row 7. So you should have 3 stitches here on the beginning, at the beginning of the row, and 3 at the end of the row, where your color G just has single crochets on the top of it, and then you should have a long double crochet, 2 single crochets, long double crochet, 2 single crochets, all the way across. Okay? So that is row 7. And then I'm going to work row 8 on my own. You start with a chain 1 and turn, and then just single crochet all the way across. So I will meet you at the end of row 8 and do a repeat of rows 5 through 8 one more time. Okay, so in this last stitch of row 8, I'm going to go into the stitch and then bring my color G up over my hook from right to left, yarn over and pull through with color H, and then drop color H, and yarn over, pull through 2 with color G. So this is what you should have at the end of your first row 8. And then we're going to repeat rows 5 through 8. So we start with chain 1 and turn to the right side, which I'm already on the right side, but we'll pretend like I chain 1 and I turned from the wrong side to do that. And then we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're working these long double crochets, and again they're going into the same place. There are 2 rows below the current row, so the row that you're working into is a row 7, or sorry, row 8. The row that you're working into is a row 8. So we're back on row 5, row 8, and then row 7 is the colored H row below that, and then we're working into the same stitch that our row 7 stitches were worked into. So we're going under the legs of the color H stitch to make our long double crochet. So yarn over, insert the hook into the correct stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and make sure when you do this long double crochet that you're always bringing the stitch up to the height of the current row. So don't work it down here. Make sure you're working it up above the row that you're working into. Okay, so you don't want them to be too long, you don't want them to be too short. And then we end the repeat with a single crochet, and that's going to go over the stitch that's over the long double crochet of color H, that color H long double crochet. So then we're just working long double crochets into where we have single crochets, and then working a single crochet over the long double crochet. So that's our repeat. Long double crochet twice, 1, 2, single crochet, long double crochet twice, 2, single crochet, long double crochet twice, 1, 2, single crochet, long double crochet twice, 1, 2, single crochet, long double crochet twice, 1, 2, single crochet, repeat, long double crochet twice, 1, 2, single crochet, repeat, long double crochet twice, 1, 2, single crochet, and then we're going to do that one more time. Long double crochet twice, 1, 2, and single crochet in the last stitch. So at the end of your row 5 repeat, that's what it should look like. All right, row 6 is just chain 1, turn to the back, and single crochet all the way across. So I will meet you at the end of row 6. All right, so at the end of row 6, I'm going to switch back to color H. So insert my hook in that last stitch, drape color H over my hook from right to left, yarn over and pull up a loop, drop color G, and yarn over, pull through 2 with color H. And that is the end of row 6 after you've repeated row 6. So row 7, start with chain 1, turn to the right side, and we're just working a repeat again, but I'm going to show you where the stitches go after you've worked a full repeat. So start with single crochet in the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then our long double crochet is going to go into the same stitch that our lowest color G single crochet is going into. So we're coming to this next stitch and going, so not into the next row, not into the row that's just below the working row, but 2 rows below is where our long double crochet is going to go. So yarn over into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1, 2. So that's our pattern repeat. Long double crochet, single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, long double crochet, single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 2, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, repeat, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And this last one, when you work the repeat, you do the long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and then you should have 1 more stitch and work a single crochet there. And that's what you should have after you do a repeat of row 7. And from there, you're just going to do row 8, which is this chain 1, turn to the back, single crochet across the back, and change back to color G at the end of the row. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so at the end of clue 7, you would have worked a with your color F. You would have worked in the front and back loops across, and then with your color G at the very end of clue 7, you would have worked back across the wrong side to this end. And so we start clue 8 with 2 rows of single crochet with color G. So you're just going to single crochet across the front, turn, and single crochet across the back, chain 1 and turn, I guess, and single crochet across the back. Then you're going to bring in on that last stitch of row 2, you're going to change to your color H, and you're also going to work 2 rows of single crochet with your color H. So at the end of row 4 is where I am here. I've worked my 2 rows of single crochet in color G and 2 rows of single crochet in color H. So I did do when I did the transition to my color H, I didn't film that, but I have linked down in the links section of the video description, way down at the bottom under links, there is a link to the adding a new color transition from clue 3, from the clue 3 video. I linked that down below, so you can go watch that if you want to know how I added in my color H yarn. So here at the end of row 4, we're supposed to transition back to color G. So I'm going to insert my hook into this last stitch, and I'm going to take my color G and I'm just going to drape it over the hook from right to left, and then I'm going to yarn over with color H and pull through, and then I'm going to drop color H and pick up color G and do the final yarn over, pull through 2. And what that's going to do is it's just going to keep my basically the float where the yarn is coming up from 2 rows below is going to be in front of the side of this project instead of on the outside of the project. All right, so let's get to the rows that actually matter, the ones that you're here for this video, because you weren't here to watch me do 4 rows of single crochet, I can tell you that. So we're going to start row 5 with a chain 1 and turn to the right side. All right, so we're going to start off really easy, single crochet in the first stitch. Make sure it's the first stitch, don't skip a stitch. And then we are going to work what's probably the confusing part of this pattern. And it's not really confusing because it's a confusing stitch to make. We've already done long double crochets. We did long double crochets in clue 2. These are the most like what we're going to do because they go straight down. We also did long double crochets in clue 5 where we had the V stitches, or we did a long double crochet to a stitch that was over and then did a stitch in between and then did another long double crochet in that same stitch that is technically back. Okay, so we are doing straight up and down long double crochets in this. It's just where are we placing them? So here's how you figure it out. we're not working a long double crochet into the row that we're working into. We're going 2 rows below that. So the row that we're working into is row 4. The one row below that is row 3, and one row below that is row 2. So if you look carefully, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can see really clearly, our row 3 legs are going around the same stitch that we want to work into. So basically we're going under the legs of color H. So where the color H stitches worked is exactly where we want to work each long double crochet. So we're not working in the row, the current working row. We're working 1, 2 rows below that. So just be aware that kind of depending on how your stitches sit, the row that's 2 rows below may seem like it is slightly to the left of the current stitch. So if you like, you're going, okay, so if I were working into this row, here's the row that I'm working into, but if I look, it's not quite straight down, it's kind of just a little bit of a lean to the left from that stitch, and that's normal. That's just because of the way that crochet stitches stack. It's not going to seem like it's directly below, but it will look like once you've made these long double crochets, it's going to look like it's going straight up and down. So yarn over the hook, and then remember we're aiming for the legs of, going under the legs of the color H stitch that is going into color G. So we're going to kind of aim straight down there, yarn over and pull up a loop. And you want to make sure that you pull each of your loops up to the height of the current row. So not too high. You want it to, so where your crochet hook is sitting with this previous stitch, you want it to be flat. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. So I know that when we did when we did clue 5, I did talk about a little bit about going into the stitch in such a way that it kind of helps split the legs of the previous stitch. The way these are going to land, it's not really going to matter. I don't think you need to do the excess work of doing your long double crochet, going into the stitch and then kind of making sure that that yarn is coming in between the legs, because basically it's just going to cover it up. Okay. So again, so we started with, we had one long double crochet. We actually have to do 2 because we're repeating that. All right. So long double crochet in the next stitch. And then single crochet. So then it tells us to skip the next 2 single crochets in the working row. Okay. So the 2 single crochets that are on the working row are actually the 2 single crochets that land behind each of these long double crochets. So we're not skipping this stitch and this stitch. We're not skipping the next 2 stitches. We're skipping the stitch that lands behind this long double crochet and the stitch that lands behind this long double crochet. So we're just working a single crochet into the next stitch. So as long as your long double crochets are not leaning, as long as they're coming straight up and down, the next stitch should be clearly visible. And you don't have to like move your long double crochets aside to find where the next stitch is to work that single crochet. So let's do that again. The pattern repeat, long double crochet. So we're coming over and then straight down and then maybe slightly to the left. All right, so under the legs of that color H stitch, long double crochet 1, long double crochet 2, and then single crochet in the next stitch. And that's it. That's your pattern repeat. So I'm just going to repeat that a few more times across. So long double crochet in the next stitch, long double crochet in the stitch after that, single crochet. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet. All right, so when you get near the end, you should have 3 stitches left. You should be able to work one final repeat in the last 3 stitches. So long double crochet, long double crochet, and single crochet in the last stitch. Right, and that's what you should have at the end of row 5. So row 6, I'm not going to work on camera. It's pretty simple. Just chain 1, turn to the back, and single crochet in each stitch across the back. So I will meet you at the last stitch of row 6. Okay, so at the end of row 6, I'm just going to insert my hook into this last stitch, bring my color H over the hook from right to left, yarn over with color G and pull through, then drop color G, yarn over, pull through 2 with color H. And again, what that's doing is it's just bringing the float from where the yarn has been dropped before up the edge, up the inside edge, instead of it being on the outside, floating out here. Okay. Okay, row 7, chain 1, turn to the front, and we begin row 7 with 3 single crochets. So you just want to make sure you are, again, getting that first single crochet into the first stitch. 1, 2, 3. And then we have a long double crochet in the single crochet that's 2 rows below the next single crochet on the working row. So we're kind of doing the same thing. The single crochet on the next single crochet on the working row is in row 6. So 2 rows below that would be row 5, and then where row 5 is worked into row 4. So we're coming down into the stitch that is the same color we're working with, that has legs from the opposite color, or our other color, which is our color G here, going around that stitch. So we're coming, again, it may seem like it's slightly to the left of the current stitch and not straight down, but we're going into that stitch with a long double crochet. So yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop to the current row height, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then that's followed by, we're skipping the stitch that's behind it, not next to it. Okay, so we're skipping the stitch that's behind that long double crochet, and then working a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. So you can see we're working a long double crochet is going to end up between where we have long double crochets on either side, just up higher. Okay, so the stitch where we have a long double crochet on the right, stitch where we have a long double crochet on the left in our color G, and then our color H long double crochet is coming down in between those each time. So if you look at your the row that you're working into, or the rows that you're working into, your color G, you have the long double crochets, and then you have a short where the single crochet is worked. That's always where our long double crochet is going to go. And then our single crochets are going to go above the long double crochets. So long double crochet, single crochet, single crochet, long double crochet, single crochet, single crochet. Okay. So we're going to work that pattern repeat a few times. Long double crochet, then 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Long double crochet, 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Long double crochet, 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Long double crochet, 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Then you have one more pattern repeat. When you have one pattern repeat to go, you'll have 4 stitches left. So long double crochet, 2 single crochets, 'and that ends the repeat. And then at the end of the row, you have one more stitch, and you're just going to work a single crochet into that last stitch. All right. So this is what you should have at the end of row 7. And then row 8, you're just going to work a chain 1 and turn to the wrong side and single crochet all the way across. And so I will meet you at the very end of row 8. Okay, so at the end of row 8, I'm just going to go into this last stitch and bring my color G over my hook from right to left, yarn over with color H and pull through, then drop color H and yarn over and pull through 2 with color G. So at the end of row 8, there's the back, and then here's the right side. And then I'm just going to repeat rows 5 and 7 for you one more time, since it might look a little bit different just because we're working into the first couple of rows instead of just plain rows. But it's basically the same thing. So row 5, repeat, chain 1, turn to the front, start with a single crochet in the first stitch. And then we're going to be working 2 long double crochets, and they're going to be going into the same stitch that the legs of our bottommost row of color H is also being worked into. So we're going to come under the legs of color H into the same stitch and work our long double crochet here and here. Okay, so yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then work another long double crochet. Just aim for right under the legs of that color H stitch that's going around to color G. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Make sure you're pulling those long double crochets. Oops, I didn't get into the right spot there. Make sure you're pulling those long double crochets up to the current row height each time. There we go. And then end the repeat with a single crochet in the next stitch, and that's going to go over that stitch where we work that single crochet is always going to go over our colored H long double crochet. Okay, so long double crochet in to each of the places where you just have the single crochets in the previous color G. Right, so we're coming down, not into this row, not into this row, but into the row that this row is worked into. So where our color H legs are is where we're aiming to put that long double crochet each time. So long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat, long double crochet, long double crochet, single crochet in the next stitch. And then when you get to the end, you'll have 3 stitches left and work one more repeat. Long double crochet, long double crochet, and single crochet in the very last stitch. And that is what you should have after you've worked the row 5 repeat. All right, and then row 6, again, you're just going to chain 1, turn to the back, and single crochet all the way across the wrong side. So I'll meet you at the very end of row 6. All right, this last stitch, I'm going to insert my hook into the final stitch, yarn over with color H from right to left, yarn over and pull through with color G, then drop color G, and yarn over, pull through 2 with color H. And that is what you should have on the wrong side after you've repeated row 6. And on the right side. All right, so row 7 repeat, chain 1, turn to the front, single crochet in each of the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to work our pattern repeat, which is going to be a long double crochet. And again, that long double crochet is just going under the legs of the bottommost color G stitch. That's the very next stitch. So you come over to the next stitch and come down, find the legs of color G that are going around the top of a color H stitch. That's where your long double crochet is going to go. And then you're going to work a single crochet in each of the 2 stitches after that that are going over these long double crochets. So you'll have a long double crochet, single crochet, single crochet, long double crochet, single crochet, single crochet, long double crochet, single crochet, single crochet. So you're just going to work that all the way across. Long double crochet. And remember, we're skipping the stitch that's behind that long double crochet, and then single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 2. Repeat, long double crochet, skip the stitch behind that, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, skip the stitch behind, and then single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Repeat, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. When you get down here to the end, you should have 4 stitches remaining. You're going to work this last repeat, long double crochet, single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then 1 more single crochet that goes into that final stitch. And that's what you should have after you've worked a repeat of row 7. So you can see that the long double crochets kind of settle the colored H long double crochets sit in between the tops of the long double crochets in color G. All right. And then you repeat row 8, which is just chain 1, turn to the wrong side, single crochet all the way across row 8. And when you get to the end of row 8, you're just going to switch back to color G. So at the end of row 8 repeat, that is, this is what you should have. This is the front. This is the back. All right. And from there, you're just going to continue working rows 5 through 8 until you have a total of 14 sets. So you have your set that has the 2 long double crochets in color G, and then above that, the 1 long double crochet in color H. That's 1 set. So this is 2 sets, 1, 2, and you'll have 12 more. So for a total of 14 sets. And that's how you do glue 8. So if there's anything that you didn't see, or that I didn't show, or that you'd like to see, or that I didn't stay in frame to show you, and basically if there's anything that I can help with that I didn't show you here, feel free to ask, and I'll do that. Otherwise, I will see you for clue 9.